So all I want you to know that this book launch is being recorded, but I wanted to first get on and welcome everyone for being here. I really appreciate you all taking time out of your schedules to give me some of your time to celebrate this book. It means a lot that you would do this for me. It's so special, and I just appreciate that so many of you have come together to celebrate me and this book. So I just really want to tell you thank you. And to help with this book launch today, I have two program leaders that are going to lead us through the program. One is going to be Doreen Andrews, who will start us off, and then Tanya Moore, who will carry us home. So this should not be any more than maybe an hour and 10 minutes of your time. So I don't take it lightly. I appreciate you and just thank you so much. Now over to Miss Doreen.
Hello, everyone. Carolyn and I used to work together, and so we've kept in touch for, a lot of years since then. But what I wanted to do was just to let you know that the program has three major parts. One is where we're going to do a short toast to Carolyn, and then we're going to have an interview with her, and then we're going to do some facilitated reading and discussion with a little Q&A, and then Carolyn has a drawing, which you must be present at to win, and I believe it's t-shirts and signed books. So that will end our meeting tonight, pretty much, with a little closing remarks by Tanya. So let me get started with just a few administrative things. If you're not familiar with Zoom, which I imagine most of us are, when you're not talking, keep yourself on mute, and that eliminates background noise. And also down at the bottom of your screen, you see a little reactions button. And so if you want, there are two ways to ask a question. We have a chat room, which is the chat button down there. And if you click that up, you can ask questions in there or make comments. And I believe that Monica is monitoring the chat, so Carolyn and Tanya and I will check in occasionally to see if there's anything with Monica, to see if there's anything we've not answered or new questions or something like that. The other thing is in the reactions button on the bottom, you can raise your hand, which puts a hand up in the screen, or you can click and celebrate, which won't get you our attention, but it'll be celebratory. So to raise your hand, you just put the first, the bottom, the lower, it says raise hand, lower hand. So that's what we'll do. Any questions before we begin? If you're concerned about your internet connection, you can certainly limit your video to when you're interacting or talking, whichever you're more comfortable with. With that, Tina, it's your turn.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say that it is an honor to sit here amongst you, family, friends, and everyone else to just celebrate this magnificent, world-class woman of God on her book, Unbreakable. And just know that she poured her heart into this book. From beginning to end. I met her over 20 plus years ago, and I had been urging her on, get this done, get this done. She gave birth. I am happy to say that it is a pleasure and an honor to be a part of all of this. Congratulations. Get your glasses out, because initially when I met her, this was her. Sparkling cider, that was her. Now I think she's up to the big leagues. So with that being said, congratulations, keep up the good work, and job well done. Turning it over to you, Clarence.
Well, thank you there, Sister Tina. It's good to see everybody. I am Clarence. I'm niece's next to the oldest sibling. And some would say I'm the smartest, but I don't know about that. I'll let y'all be the judge of that. But anyway, I didn't really think I was gonna be able to get a part in this today because I messed up so bad at the wedding anniversary. I went just a little bit past my 2 minutes that was allotted to me, maybe about 15 minutes, something like that. But anyway, I didn't know this until later that niece had instructed our brother Frank to go get that mic from me, go get that mic. So anyway, I saw Frank standing up and I thought maybe he was just waiting to be next, but I'm glad he didn't come up and try to get that mic. It would have been some fighting Vincent brothers up in there that night. But anyway, on the serious side, Carolyn Denise Vincent Turner. Born and raised in a little, I don't even know if we can call it a town, in a little place down in the cotton fields of Arkansas. Worked her way all the way through school, junior high, high school, colleges, university. She just worked all the way through. So we're so proud of you there. She's done so many different things that I can't name, but I know she started her own successful business, Vincent Associates, LLC, married to one of the best young men that I know, Tony. But you know, we have to do a background check on him though. I was reading something, I saw his name was Brady. What's going on with that? I'm gonna do a background. Anyway, just kidding, Tony. Anyway, but Niecy, on the serious side, I think I speak for all of our siblings that are living, and also our late brother Leroy V. Nathaniel Vincent Jr., AKA Sonny Daddy. Johnny Mae Vincent, AKA my dear Jane. I know they're smiling down on you right now. They're so proud. They're so proud of you. Anyway, to where we're here today, like I said, from the cotton field of Arkansas, this book, Unbreakable. And I'm telling y'all, I'm on page 52 now. And I can tell you this book does exactly what it says. It inspires and motivates. And I do believe it's on its way to be on the bestsellers list. So, niece, so what you guys might call a Dr. C or Dr. Carolyn, we want to celebrate you today. And I want everybody, now niece would say, maybe raise your glass. I say, let's put them glasses up in the air. And celebrate Mother, Sister, niece for all that you have accomplished. Let's do it, y'all. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Okay. We're back now, and thank you, Clarence. That was really very sweet.
Thank you.
And you are a big family. I was really impressed with how big a family you all are. So let's turn now. I'm sure all of you have questions about what Carolyn's done and why she's done it and what it means to her. So I put together a few questions, and so I'm going to ask them, and I'm going to ask Carolyn to respond. Are you ready, Carolyn?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, here's your first question. What inspired you to write Unbreakable?
So Clarence spoke of it a little earlier when he talked about my mom. My greatest inspiration was my mom, Johnny Mae Vincent, AKA my dear. As you know, we came from a family of 12. There were 8 boys and there were 4 girls in the family and our mom and dad. Our dad made less than $10,000 a year that we were surviving on in Arkansas. And I saw my mom take that money and stretch it to pay our bills. We had food to eat. We had clothes to wear. I mean, we didn't have everything we wanted as kids, in terms of toys. You see your kids with something and you want it too. We didn't have that, but we had love. They taught us that we needed to do better, to be better. They taught us to encourage other people. So my mom really is the definition. She is the epitome of Unbreakable. So really when we talk about Unbreakable, really I'm talking about my mom. I want to emulate her. I want to be like her. I want to give. I want to encourage others. I just really want to follow her example of being a person that's unbreakable, and I want to really inspire and encourage other people.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
Why did you write a book and not use some other media? Like there are a lot of people who do speaking and they do podcasts and all this kind of stuff. Why a book, Carolyn?
Yeah, and I want to do some of those things too, and I have relatives in my family that sing. I have relatives that act, but I have just always wanted to write something down on paper, to encourage others. When I was a child, even when I was probably first, second, third grade, as far back as I can remember, I've always loved to write. I would go into my back room and I would write about whatever challenges we were having. If we were having challenges with paying something or clothes, I would write about it. And to me, that gave me a source of comfort to be able to write my concerns on paper. If things were going well, I'd write about it. I would be able to really reflect on what I was enjoying and what I wanted to do to improve. So writing was really therapeutic for me. It expanded my thinking. I saw a world of possibilities that I didn't see before just by writing. And so once I started doing those things, I wanted to be like my mom. My mom did it in words and she would do little things for people. I wanted to take it a step further, and I really wanted to put it on paper. I wanted to document it in a book because I want people to have something that they can refer back to when I'm not around or you're not around. And so I think a book is the best vehicle for me to do that. So that's why I chose to do it as a book.
Yeah, it's nice to have a book by your bed at night to read when you need it.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. But you took a long time. You didn't write the book until recently. Why?
So I'll start off by saying for a long time, I did not think that I was able to write a book. From as far back as I can remember, when you didn't have the funds or you didn't have the money, for one, I didn't think I could afford it. Two, I didn't think that people would read it. I just did not feel like I was ready to do it at that particular time. And so now I have funds and I felt like I'm able to do that. And with COVID, we have all suffered tremendous loss during COVID. We lost our mom during COVID. So many of you have lost loved ones during COVID. And it's more than just our loved ones we've lost. We've lost normalcy. We've lost social gatherings. We lost the ability to hug others, to give people encouragement in person. Our colleagues, we lost the ability to do those things with COVID, and many times we suffered in silence. And so I saw this book now at this particular time as an opportunity to encourage other folks that may be going through something difficult, something challenged, to let them know that even though we're experiencing COVID now, we will get through this pandemic. There's still hope. There's still time for a brighter tomorrow, and we will have that. So I just really want to use this to encourage other people. And one final thing with this book and COVID, I felt like when my mom transitioned in October of last year, devastating. And I had planned on publishing the book earlier on. But once she died, I just didn't have the energy to do it. And I couldn't do it. But one day I felt like out of the blue, she was speaking to me and she was like, no, just like you need encouragement, other people need the encouragement too, especially right now. And so that's the primary reason why I was more committed to getting it out right now than ever before.
Okay. What's the core message of Unbreakable?
The core message is really about resilience. It's about encouragement. It's about understanding that even though we have struggles now, and we all have struggles, we all have pains, we all have heartache. It doesn't matter if you are a CEO of a company that's a billionaire or whether you are a labor worker like my dad who made less than $10,000 a year. It doesn't matter. The point is, we all need hope. We all need to know that there's going to be a brighter tomorrow and that we can do this if we just hang in there and if we just remain hopeful that we'll get to a better day.
Monica, is there anything before I continue with her questions? Are there any questions on the chat?
Yes, we do have a question from Donna. She says, you always talk about being accountable to yourself. Why is that?
Well, the reason I talk about being accountable to myself is because I feel like that no one else can really stand in the way of my success. I may have obstacles that I encounter. I may have barriers. I may not be able to get there in a way that I thought I would, but it doesn't mean that I can't get there. And so at the end of the day, my biggest obstacle is myself. And while I have friends, they hold me accountable, and I appreciate that. Sometimes they let me off the hook. They tell me, what, Carolyn, it's okay. You've gone through enough. You've had enough pain. It's okay for you to take some time. And that's great. That helps me in the moment. But at the end of the day, I know that I am the only one that can stand in the way of my success. So that's why it is very important for me to hold myself accountable. And I also try to use that to hold others accountable too, because I know that they can achieve more than they probably even think they're capable of. Thank you, Donna.
The Carolyn, one of the things, we've worked together, and one of the things, and you've been in organizational development, you do work with organization leaders. One of the things I've noticed is that you look at organizations as individual people. You really look at the human side of organization. Can you comment on why you do that?
Well, the reason I do that is because you can't take the human out of the organization. These organizations are entities, they're structures, but they're nothing without the people that come in and do the work. And the people that do the work, it doesn't matter if they are the director of an agency or what they are, they have human frailties just like everybody else. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. They go through divorces, they grieve, they have loss, they struggle sometimes with self-confidence. You may not see it on the outside, but they struggle through that. Many of you on the Zoom, you guys look amazing. You look beautiful, but I know that on the inside, you're not perfect. You have struggles too. And sometimes we're not willing to share those struggles all the time with each other, but it doesn't mean that they're not there. We hurt. And so a lot of times hurt people bring their pain into the organization. It doesn't stop when they walk in the door. And so that's why I feel like if we can help the people, then the organization will do better just by helping the people to do better.
Yeah. Monica, is there another question?
Yes. Tina asks, what is your favorite excerpt from the book?
We're going to get to that.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite excerpt from the book. What I like about what I did with the book, which won't get into the excerpt piece, is because I am also a certified life coach and I talk to people a lot of time one-on-one, what I found was that people sometimes read things and they don't necessarily reflect on them, or they don't, when they have a book in their hand and they're reading something, they may have a thought that comes to their head and they don't have a place to write it. So what I tried to do with the book was just put it in a journal format, so that if you read something and you have a thought about what you read, you have an opportunity right in that place, in that moment, to write it down. So it's not my favorite excerpt, because I don't know if I have one, but that's what I like about how I designed the book, in order to encourage growth, development, and reflection.
Okay. It really does make sense because of the way the book is structured. Carolyn, Clarence said he's on page 52. Okay, and I sat down and I read through the whole book in one sitting. And I'm going, I don't think that's the way to read the book. So tell me, how do you recommend that we tackle your book?
So I'll say this, the book only has 50 readings, so 100 pages. So it's easy to read the book in one setting. It is. It gives you can get a good overview of the book in one setting. However, I found that what works for me, and what I've heard that works for other people, is to have it in digestible chunks, to read it like one reading at a time, and to reflect on that reading about, it could be, what can I do differently? What can I learn from this? How does this reflect what I'm currently going through? So I find that I get more growth and development by doing it one at a time. What you might do is read it in one setting, but then go back and use it as a reference. Pull up the reading that relates to your situation and do it like that. And that way you'll have it on hand at all times for what you need in that moment that you need it.
Yeah, I after I got through reading, I said, this is really a stimulus to journaling. It sets the stage, and you've done a beautiful job at that. I have one last question for you, and that is, what advice can you give people, no matter what their age, whether they're 15 or 95, who feel stuck and in pain and can't see a way to get out of their situation? Do you have any action points you can tell us about?
Absolutely. And I think I speak for everybody. I think all of us have been there. And all of us, if we haven't been there, we will get there at some particular point in time. So we're not exempt. We all struggle. We all struggle no matter what our age is. And I just recommend some things that are simple in nature, but sometimes it's easier. It's easy to say it, but it's more difficult to put it into practice. So the first thing I would say is to appreciate what you have. Sometimes it's so hard to get stuck on what we don't have, that we focus on our problems, we focus on what's not going well in our lives, and we allow those things to really depress us and get us to a point where we don't feel like we can do anything. We just allow it to kind of take over our lives. So to get out of that rut, what I would recommend is some type of gratitude list. Whether it's you writing down kind of, you woke up this morning, you have a vehicle to drive, you guys are on Zoom, you're talking to me now, you are little things. You get an opportunity to go to work. You may not necessarily like your job, but you have a job and you can pay your bills. Those are things to be thankful for. The fact that we can look up at a glorious sky today and that we can see that beauty in the trees. The wind was blowing through the trees today, and I just knew that, oh my goodness, this is a beautiful day, and it speaks to the fact that God really loves us. So appreciate what you have. Number 2, I would say, ask for help. Sometimes we can be so independent and so confident and give off that appearance that we will not ask for help. The help may be spiritual help. You may need to talk to someone about spiritually about whatever your challenges are. It may be mental help. If COVID has taught us anything, it taught us that a lot of people were going through things that were used to seeing a counselor or a therapist, and they didn't have that one-on-one interaction. And a lot of people suffered in silence. So mental health is very important. So ask for help if you need help. There's also the financial help. There was a lot of hardship with COVID. People could not sometimes work. That was their livelihood. They couldn't go to work. They struggled. We all have pride. We have pride, and we don't want to feel like people are just giving us things, so we have to recognize, though, it's okay to ask for help. On the flip side, we should offer help. Sometimes when we are going through situations and challenges ourselves, we find that if we can reach out and help somebody else, by doing that, not only will we help them, but it will uplift our spirits too. And you should always, the more you give, I believe the more you will receive. I really do believe in that principle. And that's why I am always trying to reach out and give and help and support others. Number 3, I would say, recognize that your current situation doesn't have to define you. It's not your final destination. I was reading recently about, suicide, how suicide attempts are going on, and they're going up. And the reason for that is people are focused on the current situation. And when they're focused on the current situation, sometimes it gets so bad for them that they can't see beyond that particular situation. So do not allow that situation to define you, because all things change. No day is ever the same. So I would say that put together an action plan. If you're not happy with your job, what are the actions you're going to take to get a better job? If you are unhappy with how you look, what are the actions you're going to take to change that? If you want to live your passion, or if you're not living your passion, then what are some manageable steps you can take to get you to that next level? Next, I would say to recognize that you can be successful. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can still be successful. A lot of times people think that because they're a certain age or they're even too young that they can't be successful. You can be successful. You just have to take it one day at a time. It may not happen today, but there's something you can do today to lead you in that direction. Another thing I would say that you can do is to just don't give up. Don't give up. Sometimes survival is just making it through the minute, the hour, the day to the next day. So just don't give up, because there will be a brighter tomorrow. You just have to hang in there and recognize that.
That's wonderful, Carolyn. That goes with the old saying is half of success is just showing up. And if you show up, good things will come. Monica, before I turn it over to Tanya for our next section, are there any other questions?
We have a few. So I'm going to ask them in reverse order, because I think that will bring us to a good conclusion on this section. Donna asks, can you expound on some of the women's groups you host?
Donna, I can tell you right now at this point, I want to actually start some women's groups, but I have not hosted any. That has been my plan. I think I've talked to you about it. I've talked to others about it, that I really want to start hosting some women's groups to talk about challenges, because a lot of times what we do is we overlook those things. Some things we take it as being very simple, but I feel like I have a calling to help other folks, and women are one of the people that I really feel like is part of my calling. So thanks for the question.
All right. Secondly, Karen asks, have you taken a moment to pause You come from such humble beginnings. This is a significant accomplishment to share with and help others. Have you had a moment to take it all in? We appreciate you.
You know, sometimes I think I've had a moment to take it in, and then sometimes I don't. You know, probably with, and you guys are going to have to forgive me for crying.
I'm surprised you lasted this long. I cried when you started.
But with the passing of my mom, it's been tough. But I do believe that she would be very proud of me now, and that she was proud of me then. And I know this is a significant accomplishment, and I know that I'm blessed. And I can just say that hopefully at some point in the near future that I'll really take it all in. I know it's significant, and I just, I'll take it in. Thank you for putting me on the spot. Thank you for making me cry.
Sometimes this girl needs a vacation. Okay, Tanya, why don't you take it over from here?
Awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
Doreen.
Thank you.
All right. So let's give Carolyn a second. I think everybody that has stuff in your glasses, keep drinking. I didn't make it home from work, so drink for me. Clarence, are you having champagne? No,
Yes, I
that's
am.
my favorite drink. So you just keep toasting. Keep
Yeah, I have
toasting.
one for you.
All right, so we are going to dig in a little bit now and actually listen to a couple of these readings. Now, when Carolyn asked me to help with this section, I did not tell her that I was terrible in poetry class. Like, they would have us read these poems, and then the teachers would ask us what it was about, and I was like, I don't know. So I didn't tell her that part when she asked for help. So you guys are going to have to chip in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to these readings and just reflect and see what comes up for us, you know, what reflections we have, anything it makes us think of, and then we'll get our author's perspective on it as well. So Carolyn, over to you for the first reading.
Okay. So the first reading, for those of you who have purchased the book, it's on page 90 of the book. That's the first reading, page 90. And the name of it is, I Have to Love Me Too. I thought he was the one for me, my soulmate, my best friend, my confidant. That is, until I saw the real person. His flaws and weaknesses were based on his pain. And nobody's perfect. Therefore, I thought the relationship could and should be salvaged. Surely we could survive the turmoil of the unkind words and the hurt feelings. I tried to be patient. However, I encountered something even more powerful and detrimental to our relationship. It was denial and refusal to take responsibility for his actions. How agonizing was the realization that came from knowing that even though we were two smart, intelligent individuals, and yes, I believe we truly loved each other, maybe it was not enough. Our mode of thinking was polar opposite. We saw the world through different lenses. He said he was the head, but I couldn't follow where he wanted to lead. And how can two walk together unless they agree? What a traumatic and heartbreaking experience. But it would have been even more devastating to stay in something that was not emotionally healthy, to stay in something that didn't lift me up and make me feel special, something that stopped me from being me. So I made the decision to leave him. My final words were, I love you. I really do. But when it's all said and done, I have to love me too.
Thank you. So what comes up for you guys? Kind of what do you hear? What are your reflections? I can just tell you from my personal perspective, as you're giving it some thought, I have 2 kids. I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old. And what comes up for me is it's hard to be a kid these days. And I teach, especially my daughter a lot who struggles, that importance of loving herself first, especially in this social world. So that's a big theme for me. What about others?
This is Karen. I would say strength. There's a lot of strength in that statement. To step up, to realize you have to love yourself first, and to make that call. That must have been very difficult, but strength. There's strength in that. Over.
Thanks, Karen.
So as she read, I had my eyes closed so that way I can envision the words that were dancing off the page. And it spoke that the person in the poem, just felt as if it wasn't going in the direction that she envisioned when she first got into that relationship or that situation. And as time moved on, it's like, I have to love me because you're not loving me the way that I should be loved. That's what I got out of that.
Thanks, Tina. A couple more people.
This is Darcy, and I'm on the phone only.
We can hear you, Darcy. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. So I think it takes a lot of courage to be able to love yourself. And I say that particularly from a women's point of view, is that we give so much of ourselves to our work, to our families, to our spouses, to everything. And to be able to stop and say, wait a second, am I getting what I need? And I need to love myself. And I think that when Carolyn mentions that, it just reminds me a lot of courage, that we need to support one another as human beings to have that kind of courage. Over.
Thanks. All right, one more, and then we'll ask Carolyn what was going on for her.
This is Faye. I was going to say, similar to the person before, that I felt the courage, as she mentioned, but also how much we do give of ourselves constantly, and almost to the point of losing yourself. And when you take it back, as she said, it's I have to love me too, that it's okay, because I think sometimes we forget that. We're so busy giving to others and making whomever, that person happy or family happy, that we forget it's okay. I can love me too, and I need to be a part of that. That's what I got out of it.
That was beautiful. Thanks, Faye. Doreen commented that this is her favorite reading. So Carolyn, what was kind of the inspiration, if you will, for this reading?
So, during this reading, I was going through a relationship, with a guy, and I really, really, loved this guy. I mean, I was willing to do anything for the guy. I really did. And I felt like, though, I was given and given and given, and that I really wasn't getting back what I was given. I felt like I was being taken advantage of. I felt like my kindness was being taken for weakness. And I felt like I was kind of in a no-win situation at the time. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm in the DC area. I have no family here. I have a host of friends, but I have no family here. But I just felt like I felt stuck, and I know that, some of you also have felt stuck, I mean, I felt stuck in this relationship, and it took me a while before I finally got the courage to say, this is not serving me well. This is not lifting me up. It's not giving me strength or encouragement. You know, I'm getting my encouragement from my friends, which I love because I give them encouragement, they give me encouragement. But I should be getting encouragement from this person that I am giving my all to. And I felt like I wasn't really getting that. And, you know, one of my brothers who's on the line now, Joey, I remember calling him. And usually, you know, you don't tell your siblings a lot of what's going on because you're like, you don't want them to hold it against you, hold it against a person or anything like that. But with this sibling, I called him and I kind of told him, you know, what was going on. And he gave me some great, you know, advice. And he was there for me. And I knew that he wasn't going to share it with people. I could trust him to keep it to himself. And he lifted me up and he told me that I deserved better. So once I had that conversation with him, you know, going back to write was very therapeutic for me. And I just finally got the courage to say, this is just not working. And so that's kind of what was behind that. So thank you, Joey.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Why don't we do one more?
Okay. So this is page 96. Come back stronger. I never thought I would experience such a dreadful time in my life. Everything that I thought was is no more. Everything that I have believed in has somehow been taken from me. I'm disillusioned, disenchanted, and grappling, struggling to survive. My friends may have gone through something similar, but how can they possibly understand what I'm feeling? My family loves me unconditionally, but they can't be there for me right now. Somehow, I have got to overcome this, and I really don't know how. Those around me reaffirm my strength, but I'm barely hanging on. The pain is excruciating. I'm grappling fiercely to hold on to the little self-confidence that I have left. I'm not sure where this path will take me, but I'm going to take it one day at a time and trust that I will be okay. I will get through this. I will survive and come back stronger.
Yeah, I see Doreen clapping. Definitely gave me goosebumps. A lot of faith I hear in that. What do you guys hear? What comes up for you?
I so relate. You know, I think we've all, like you said, Carolyn, we've all had those times when we're really low. And there are people that love and support us, but they don't get it to the core the way we have it in the moment. And so, I think writing that, even seeing someone else's depth of pain and the vulnerability you're sharing with others in that gives hope to others that we can come back stronger too. So I absolutely love that one.
Thanks. Karen, your thoughts?
There was just so much desolation in those initial words and just the vulnerability. You could just feel it in your body as Carolyn went through and made each of those statements. And yet at the very end, where the confidence, kind of that little flicker, it was just so beautiful to know, oh, thank God she's gonna make it, yes. So it was an incredibly powerful comment.
I agree, very powerful. Dana.
I appreciate the honesty and the transparency as I feel the phases and the cycles of love, support, loss, acceptance, and digging deep in that resilience that you learned from your parents and your family, that even when you feel it's dark, this too shall pass, and it's rooted in faith. that's what matters, and that makes us stronger. And I could see the phases, even like the physical. I can almost imagine, the breaking down and then the picking back up. So that was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Very powerful. Tara says, I hear the importance of positive affirmations. Lisa, your thoughts?
Is Lisa on mute? Oh, there she is.
There she is. Lisa, you might be on mute. Although I don't see the mute button.
We can't hear you, Lisa.
Yep, you might not be connected to audio.
She's like, wait.
And I'm bad at sign language. Lisa, maybe go into the chat and I'm happy to read it for you, or maybe try to reconnect to audio. Tina, do you want to share your thoughts that I see here in the chat?
Yes, I can. Yes. I said, I feel that she is speaking of the death of her mom. The pain is so pure and unapologetic. She will bounce back.
Yeah, thank you. And Doreen says, for me, there have been times when you must break to rebuild, to become unbreakable. Which is a really, really powerful, powerful statement. All right, so Carolyn, do you want to do one more, or do you want to go to Q&A?
I can do one more. Lisa, did Lisa, are you good, Lisa?
Oh, Lisa, I see you're mute, so maybe come off mute.
Unmute, Lisa.
There you go. No. Okay, but Lisa did type in, so I'm gonna be your voice, Lisa. In the last passage, I heard resignation, retirement, and then breakthrough with courage. Love that. All right, Carolyn, let's do one more, and then we'll go to some final Q&As.
Okay, do you want me to share what was going on when I wrote
Oh,
this
I forgot
part?
that part. Look, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry, my bad. Yes.
Well, for this part though, Tina was right on. So, losing my mom was really devastating for me. And I know it was devastating for, my family, my siblings also. And I'm sure for you, losing close family members is devastating because it's painful, it's hurt, it's grieving. This was the person that I admired the most in my life. This is the person that I continue to admire the most in my life. The one that made me the person that I am today. So when she transitioned, this is one of the readings that I wrote, and I know though it was depressing, and I might sound depressing now, but I'm much better than I was. And even in that moment though, I know that my mom was encouraging me to this was her way of giving me the final words to kind of move on and to just get the book published. So yes, Tina was right on. It was devastating, and it's for anybody though now that goes through similar situations, to let people know that it doesn't matter how painful the situation, time over time things will get more manageable and you can come through this.
Yeah, agree. Karen, go ahead. It looks like you had a comment here.
Yes, I was just going to say that's what makes this book so powerful. The authenticity about it, the life experiences. It comes from a real place. To be this vulnerable and to share these moments, experiences with others, that's going to ultimately help other people. It's just so real, raw, and authentic, and I appreciate it. Over.
Thanks, Karen. So for this next one, Carolyn's going to read one more, and we're going to do the comments a little bit differently. So in the chat, as you guys listen to this and reflect, if you could just type in the chat the words that come up for you. So I've heard, courage, I've heard authenticity. So in the interest of time, we'll do feedback that way on this one, and then hear from Carolyn around her thoughts. Oh, she's putting on her glasses.
Glasses, people,
Curious
glasses.
All right, over to you.
The name of this one is It Takes Courage. It takes courage to walk through a door when you don't know what's on the other side. To expect the best, even when you have experienced immense challenges. To be confident in your abilities, even when others doubt you. To know that you have everything inside you need to be successful. It takes courage to walk through the door, especially when you are afraid of the outcome. To step out and take a risk, even when you feel compelled to stay in your safe space. To challenge yourself, even though you feel stretched far too thin. To know that you're destined for greater than where you are. It takes courage to walk through a door when it has been so hard to get it to budge. When you are exhausted by your effort that seems to have produced no success. To anticipate what's ahead, even though you feel like you're stretched and struggling to stay above surface. To reach deep within and see the vision for your future. It takes courage to walk through a door, but if you do, you just may find your destiny.
So I'm seeing words like hope, vision, faith, vulnerability, faith despite the current ground you stand on, determination, twice, 2 people said determination, strength and hope, persistence, endurance, coming out of your comfort zone, and I have goosebumps again. It's just beautiful. So Carolyn, what were you thinking of and what was going on for you for this one?
What was going on for me for this one was when I was thinking about leaving IBM. You and I worked together at IBM, and it got to a point where I felt like I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to start doing something on my own. But I was so fearful because coming from my upbringing, father making less than $10,000 a year, struggling, I was really concerned about the financial security. I was concerned about having a steady paycheck coming in. And so it took me 3 years to get to the point where I felt like I could leave, and I was still struggling mentally even in that time to leave. And during that time, I love to reflect and think, and this is the writing that came to me during that time, and it really helped me to go on and put in my resignation to leave. And what was ironic about that is I put in my resignation to leave, and probably within 2-3 months, IBM reached back out to me and said, we want you to be a subcontractor to us. So I was afraid, but once I made that step, other good things showed up.
Yeah. So I can tell you all from being in that moment with Carolyn, all these words are spot on. Those feelings of vulnerability, being determined in who she is, having that faith, having that vision, persistence, determination, all ring pretty true to me. What do you think, Carolyn?
Definitely.
All right, so we are going to any final questions that anyone has. One question that I have is this recording going to be shared? Because some of these words that I might need you to just speak to me at times, a year from now, I might need to push play. So will the recording be shared with all of us?
Yes, I can share the recording with all of you, and I also want to post a recording as well on some of the social media sites as well.
Wonderful. Any other questions, comments that any of you have before we do a little closing comments and wrap?
I thought Monica had some questions. I'm sorry.
There was a question from Tina. She wanted to know what's next after Unbreakable?
I do plan to write another book of Unbreakable as well. I don't know what the timeline will be, but I definitely want to do that because I do really feel like this is part of why I'm here, and I have some of the readings now. So that is the plan to publish another book.
What other questions do folks have?
I have more of a comment. I just want to thank you, Carolyn. You taught me something today. I learned that we're all first responders in our own way, coming from a law enforcement background and thinking about the courage of going through that door, and listening to you and others on this call. We all are first responders in the different experiences and things that are going through our life, going on in our life. So I learned something today about first responders. We're all first responders. Over.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Tanya, can I read what Lisa wrote? Lisa wrote something that resonates with me, which I think is great. She says, "You belong in the room. We have to persevere in our sometimes vicious work environments." So I really appreciate that, because sometimes we don't feel like we belong in the room. We have to fight so hard to get into the room that we don't feel like we belong. And so it helps, no matter how confident you look on the outside, it helps to be reminded. Don't ever forget that you belong in the room.
I like Doreen here. Own that room. Love that. All right. If there are other questions, why don't you guys go ahead and put them in the chat, and Monica will keep looking over that. Carolyn, do you want to do a drawing?
Yes. So.
Do I need a drum roll?
So I actually will do two. So I'll do two drawings. Whoever wins will get a signed book, and I also have Unbreakable t-shirts. So you can let me know your size later once you win, but you'll get a signed book and you'll get a t-shirt. Here we go. Yay.
Right.
Who's the lucky winner? Who's the lucky winner? Okay, let's see. Present. You have to be present to win. So we did say that. Okay, Janice and Regina.
All right. Yeah.
Yay.
Well done. Well done.
We'll get together after ladies.
So the couple things that I want to do here is to remind everyone that this is the start of our Unbreakable journey with Carolyn. And so be sure to follow her on Instagram. She's also on Facebook. She's got a website. And if you haven't already purchased your book, I encourage you to get out there and purchase your book. It's also, the holidays are coming, so maybe buy one for a friend. I don't know about you guys, but that Amazon car comes to my house a lot, makes it really easy to have that delivered. Or, as Carolyn points out, your favorite distributor. So we need to also spread the wealth. So be sure to follow Carolyn's journey. You know, Carolyn talked about really recognizing what you have. And Carolyn has been such a gift to me. So Carolyn, on behalf of myself and all of us, I just am so thankful to have you in my life and in this world. So thank you and congratulations.